Experience Africa's heartbeat.
The African Pulse.
A weekly broadcast that takes you across Africa.
Different topics.
Culture.
Tech. Health.
Economy.
And even politics.
The African Pulse.
Only on the Freaky FM.
Greetings to you all, ladies and gentlemen across Africa, and welcome to a new episode of the African Pulse. A weekly broadcast which brings you different topics to discuss with my fellow columnist colleagues. As for today, we're going to continue during this episode our discussion about the powerful influence of social media on the youth in Africa. As we previously mentioned, social media platforms are not just virtual hangouts anymore. They've become catalysts for societal change, influencers of culture, and avenues for both empowerment and exploitation. Many questions we asked previously, one of them being, are African youth equipped to navigate the digital terrain responsibly, and what are the long-term implications of their identity, relationships and aspirations? Today we delve into other questions as well with my fellow columnist colleagues, whom I have the pleasure to have here with me in the studio, Divirna Nakwamina from Ghana and David Amozo from Ghana also. Starting with our first segment today, education on digital navigation. During our previous episode, we discussed how African youth are leveraging social media for education, entrepreneurship, and also about resources that are available to enhance digital literacy and skills development among youth across the continent. So with the rise of cyberbullying and online harassment, how are African youth safeguarding their mental health in the digital realm, and how can we harness the positive potential of social media while mitigating its negative consequences, Nana?
Mitigating the negative effects of social media should be an individual choice and should be an individual action.
Indeed.
Considering bringing... Government can have policies, but there's a thin line between helping and controlling. As we now live in the 21st century, we live in a more democratic inclined society. So institutions can help, and they should help. But we are living in a capitalist world where social media and their bottom line plays a role in our daily lives. So it's a disadvantage for the social media networks to stop or defer you from engaging in social media. It affects their bottom line. Social media is your friend and at the same time not your friend. So individual responsibility is required here, because you have to understand Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all these social medias are the top of the food chain, and they live for engagement. It works. It is essential for the advertisers, and it's essential for their bottom line and their profits. So as an individual, you need to take specific responsibilities and specific things. And I have personal suggestions.
Okay. Can we hear some of them?
Of course. You can start by moving your social media apps from your home screen. Put them away. Set a timer for yourself.
This could help.
This could help. And also, we should encourage engaging in positive and uplifting content. Content can be easily radicalized. I think later onwards we're going to have a discussion about misinformation and the negative impacts of social media. So I'm not going to delve into it in this question, but all I have to say is, if we're going to involve the social media networks, then uplifting, then they should put at the forefront of your timeline or your home pages, positive and uplifting content. Also, I would say, we already talked about limiting the time. Stop doom scrolling. It's scrolling through social media. Especially TikTok has become such a thing that we have a term for it now. It's called doom scrolling.
It definitely observes. Like you can't even let your phone go once you start.
Exactly. And I know from the prior emission you guys had, I'm sure you talked about the dopamine and the effects. What gives dopamine is a hormone. It's something we call the pleasure hormone, and the way it works is activities that we do that are fulfilling.
It would make you feel happy.
Exactly, those release dopamine. But social media has become the short gap. It has become the shortcut. So instead of back in the, your parents will complain to you like, we used to go out and play. We used to go out and play football and everything, and that used to be the uplifting thing. That used to be where your dopamine came from. But now we're in a world where we can watch just a short video and receive the same amount of dopamine at the same time. Yeah. So that is why social media is addictive. It adds to its addictiveness, and so individuals should encourage each other, your friends, encourage yourselves to step out and then push for activities, play football, go out for walks, go hiking. It seems tiring, but after you do it over a certain period of time, your body needs to dissociate itself from these short dopamine releases. And so the more discipline you give yourself, the more time you take away from social media and reinvest that time. It's not taking away from social media and being idle. You will go back. But you need to find activities that interest you that will be that dopamine replacement.
That would, I mean, these suggestions are great. They could work magic if one would apply them. But David, I'm going to ask you another question considering this topic. Given the proliferation of fake news and the misinformation online, how can African youth discern fact from fiction, and how can we cultivate a culture of responsible digital citizenship among the next generation?
Okay, thank you so much again for having me on set. And the issue of misinformation and disinformation, I can say it's sort of a tool, because I think my colleague took a point from the medical aspect, talking about the impact of social media on our lives. But to economic aspect, these are ways by which this big giant, this social media platform makes money. So when you think about, it said that fake news spread quicker than, let's say, natural news. You get it? So how we can safeguard ourselves from this fake news and then misinformation is we taking certain policies or certain steps by ourselves. Because these guys are already making their money, plus or minus you. So if for you to safeguard your sanity when it comes to how much you can digest and ingest information, you have to do everything by yourself, because the government is not going to play that role for you. This Facebook and all these guys are owned by entities, and those entities are making a lot of money out of fake news and this.
I would like to disagree with that. I would honestly like to disagree with that.
Okay.
My colleague has a point.
Yeah.
But we need to differentiate between misinformation and disinformation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, misinformation can be taken as it's all fake news at the end of the day. But misinformation can be taken as an honest mistake. An article released with the wrong information as applied at that time. But when we talk about disinformation, we're talking about an activity of actively and radically spreading false
information.
And I feel, and in that case, the law can apply here. When you look at Twitter now, Twitter has what we call community notes. It is the way the platform has decided, is the path the platform has decided to take to tackle these. And this came about due to pressure from the US government, from the EU as well. But it is necessary. So basically what happens is when someone puts information out there, what the community, if it's false, what the community notes does is there's a little note under the tweet or the post, and what it does is that it corrects that information. It tells you that this information is false. It gives you a proper explanation, and it gives you a link to where you can find out more information for yourself, to educate yourself.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, we're talking about Myanmar. We're talking about Myanmar, and we're talking about how am I even going to say? We're talking about disinformation. We know that disinformation has led to civil wars. It's led to ethnic cleansing. Facebook is a prime example of that.
True.
And the impact has been huge. When we're talking about individual things like cyberbullying and everything, I understand the law can't take it. That was my argument. But when we talk about the spread of false information, that will impact the whole society.
Exactly.
That should be punishable by law. And for that, the social media companies should be held accountable.
No, but with that, I would want to come in on that. When we are talking about the social media being held accountable, for example, before COVID, Twitter, now X, was under I think a different ownership.
Administration.
Yes, and then right after let's say COVID, that's where Elon Musk bought.
Yeah, there was a shift in power.
A shift in power. That was where you have all these sort of checks you're talking about.
True.
So
beforehand, they didn't exist.
Yes, prior to let's say COVID, prior to 2020, we didn't have all these checks until now. Even Facebook doesn't.
Facebook doesn't, and Instagram, since it belongs to Meta, it doesn't.
Yeah, so
and
I
the
think
other platforms as well.
It's just because of the new administration with Twitter. That's how we have just this kind of this check. Sort of a check and balance thing. But when it applies to what, so are we saying, let's say, Mark Zuckerberg?
However, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but it's true that there isn't the same option that the X platform has. However, there always is the comment section.
Yes.
The comment section people there can correct the information.
Yeah, but it doesn't go far. Because how many people read comments?
But that's why policies need to be taken into consideration here.
Okay.
After the situation in Myanmar, after the QAnon conspiracy theories that spread during America in the last few years, especially during Trump's whole election and everything, policies were put in place. Now these companies hire third parties to actually verify information. We're talking about disinformation that can affect politics. It can affect. Like, these are lives we're taking into consideration. And I, for one, feel that when it comes to that, a law should be in place. We can't let people walk scot-free. The comment section is not enough. The companies have to be held accountable. And through that, they have to put checks and balances in place. And if they cannot do that, then they shouldn't be allowed to operate. And I understand that social media has a lot of positive effects, and I understand that these applications and these companies have a foothold on the market and benefit us in many ways. You can mention advertisements, promoting your business, music, the entertainment industries. But at the end of the day, checks and balances need to be put in place. And the way it will happen is if a law and policies are enacted. This is where I feel the government needs to step in.
Okay, I think this is quite interesting when we talk about this policies stuff. In 2015, there was a company that's called Cambridge Analytica.
Yes, I know.
Thank you very much. It was prior to the 2016 election that took place in so many countries. 2016. Cambridge Analytica had a foothold in Facebook. And they were able to tap into so many influencers' accounts, and they were able to spread fake news. 2016, and I think in 2017, the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, was called to the
Congress.
he, in his speech, in his comment as to what's the way forward, said there will be policies to tackle all this, that there will be these privacy policies just to protect sort of a third person from let's say entering into your space. 2017, we're in 2024. 7 years now. Nothing has been done.
But Cambridge Analytica is no longer functioning. It's no longer.
Yes, I'm not talking about Cambridge Analytica. That's a third party. I'm talking about Facebook has not still enacted
Fair
any.
enough.
You get it?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that, because they still, till this very day, they still don't make policies that would restrict the fake news from spreading through their platform.
Yes, and the reason why I'm bringing this point, I'm not sort of countering what he's saying, but I'm taking it from a very economical point of view. That all these are ways Facebook and let's say the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok, this is how they are able to make money.
Exactly. They make
It's
revenues.
much more economical stuff
They
than...
make revenues from
Yes.
the much spread fake news.
Thank you.
And they give no care how it would affect the youth
Yes.
considerably in Africa. You see.
Yes.
Indeed. Now let's run to the second segment of this broadcast after this little music break.
Solo, my baby, your love. 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 Social media, I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Day or night in my car, vroom, vroom, vroom. Netflix and chill, me, they film, film, film. Me want online in Tiwadana. Friend me so my busy and texting me na madakra. Me be a shakarabia kra. Shakarabia kra. Oh, I see you on my Instagram. I come my pics, give them many hearts. Oh, I see you on my Twitter then. 140 characters bigger than. Oh, I see you on my Snapchat. Snapchat, chatting with my don la la. Oh, I see you. Oh, I see you. Oh, I see you. So love, my baby, your love. 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 So love, my baby, your love.
Back to you again, dear listeners, and now with our second segment, social media and entertainment. So, the role of social media in propelling the rise of young African artists to fame among their peers is profound. How does social media help young artists in Africa become famous, especially among young people, Nana?
Wow. You know, Africa has always been a bastion for talent. And we've been a huge export of music. We know you can look at Algeria and talk about Shep Khaled, Shep Hussein, I forgot, sorry, let me note. Algerino and the rest. You look at South Africa, you have Black Coffee. You look at Ghana, you had back in the day, in the 80s, you had Osibisa.
Yeah.
You look at Nigeria, they had Fela Kuti. And in the current generation, we had Don Jazzy, we had Davido, we had Sarkodie and the rest. I say this to say that the export of music from or talent from Africa has been there. It's always been there, but it's never been appreciated on the global scale as it is now. And we have to admit that social media has played a huge role in this. We talk about how social media can impact, has impacted African artists and musicians. It's the same thing for anyone in any other European countries. What has happened now is everyone is au courant, as my French people will say. Everyone is updated.
On trend.
Yes, the trend has always been Africa.
Yeah.
Let's not lie to ourselves. It's just that social media has shed a new light. We've had artists that have traveled around the world and have been selling, but now they are selling more. And a prime example of an artist that has taken their talents on an international scale, just broadly off social media, is Tyler.
Yes.
Honorable mentions, Rema,
In 2020
Thames,
especially.
yes, and CK, the one that did My Baby Valentine. I saw that song. That song basically blew off social media. It's so when we talk about social media gives us the opportunity to display our talents. You talk about, and I'm not even just limiting it to music. We have Instagram where artists can show off their work.
Yes.
We have Pinterest where artists can find a niche market.
And let's not forget the social media platform that definitely blows up a lot of music
It's
and
TikTok.
entertainment, TikTok. of
Exactly.
course.
TikTok has just been a prime catalyst
Yes.
in selling our culture to the world, and it's been
Exactly.
amazing to see. People are doing the Guara dance. People are learning dance formations from someone that decided to just take a camera and then film all the way in Kumasi. You
Yes.
have people. Social media has given opportunities and a financial backing for people who wouldn't traditionally go through. Who wouldn't go through the traditional route. Sorry.
Okay.
And it has been it has increased the audience. That's what social media does. It puts your talent and the service and goods you want to give to the whole world, and we are just seeing. It's not that it has changed the way we perform. It's not that it has changed our instruments. It's we've been doing the same thing. It's just that now light has just been shed on what Africa has to offer, and people are loving it.
Yes, true. It promotes the African culture in a bright manner that the youth can't help but be attracted.
Exactly.
But now we're going to shift into another important question. In an interconnected world, the social media serves as a catalyst for showcasing African cultures globally, as you previously mentioned, Nana. But how does this digital medium amplify the voices and heritage of diverse African communities, David?
Okay. So when it comes to social media and its impact on the youth in Africa, talent, let's say music and culture, I think management and also marketing policies play a very vital role in all this, because you can make an analysis of how our musicians or our artists were before this millennia, and in even the first decade of this millennia compared to, let's say, the second decade, let's say from the 2011 all the way to date, let's say for 14 years now. There have been this much awareness and then a good marketing strategy in promoting music, because I think my colleague Nana made mention of OGs back in the 80s and then before this millennia. If you check their impact, though they are from Africa, if you check their impact, how far their music was able to go compared to, let's say, the likes of, let's say, Rema now,
Yeah.
and then the likes of Davido or all these current artists, you could see that there's much education that has gone into how to advertise their product, right? Though they are sent from Africa, but there has been a good marketing policy to enhance or to promote the African music.
Like I said earlier on, Africa is a bastion of culture and talent. It has always been. It's just, the social media has just given us the opportunity to just showcase it, and the world is in love with it. Everything started from the motherland,
Yes.
and everyone is realizing everything is in the motherland,
Indeed,
and that's what
indeed.
people are seeing now.
Yeah.
And they have to see the beauty of Africa, actually.
Of course.
Well, dear listeners, that brings us to the end of today's insightful discussion as we've explored the complex interplay between social media and African youth, from identity formation to digital empowerment.
Your ART. Study my face, frame.
Remember, the digital landscape is constantly evolving, but with awareness, education and collaboration, we can empower our youth to navigate it with confidence and purpose.
Fresh out the gallery.
Ifriki FM listeners, thank you for staying tuned throughout this episode, and I thank you, Divir Nana Kwamina and David Amuzo, for sharing your insights. Dear listeners, if you want a recap of this episode, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube, Radio Ifriki FM, and also through our app on Play Store, Ifriki FM. Dear listeners, stay on our wave, stay informed until next time. This is Emmanuel, tuning out.